Today, my friend Olivia Tati is gonna be coming over and I'm so excited to catch up with her. I haven't actually seen her in person since last year. My family and I were traveling. I was speaking at an event in Montana and we stopped and stayed with her on our way back through Colorado to see her new short-term rental, which was freaking amazing, y'all. She has this huge house in Denver and the upstairs she rents out and has designed to the T to make it this like luxurious place that women come for girls' weekends and people can do retreats there. But then she gets to house hack it because there's this an adorable small apartment downstairs where she gets to live for free because the Airbnb and the top covers the cost of her living expenses. She travels most of the year and has an amazing social media channel showcasing how beautiful all these different areas are that she travels to. So I cannot wait for y'all to meet her and find out what she's been up to. So I am so excited you're here for a couple reasons. When I decided to change this podcast to something really visually interesting, I sent you a text and I'm like, Olivia, I need new chairs because I wanted new chairs for the area we normally sit and eat, but wanting new chairs turned into an entirely new kitchen.
I think I literally texted you. I was like, don't ask me for design advice if you don't want my full opinion.
So we start with new chairs. We have a full-fledged idea now for wallpaper. We're changing out the handles and all kinds of stuff. We actually just got the handles in, and this was one of your suggestions.
It looks so much better.
It looks so much better. And I love the like French country kind of look that it's gonna give it. And I'm excited to get the wallpaper in and do all the painting, but that was awesome.
It's so perfect because I feel like the silver, it's just so like builder grade and like
the gold is like warm,
exactly,
and welcoming.
Cozy.
Yes, but once you go down the rabbit hole, because we started with chairs and handles, and then we're like, wait, we need new lights. We need a faucet. We got to get a light over the dining room table.
Yep.
And we went into this like $10,000 budget as opposed to new chairs.
Yep. Pretty much.
And then also I'm excited to catch up with you because the last time I saw you, you had just closed on your new house hack in Denver. The kids and I actually stayed before you finished the design part. And the house hack in Denver is big enough that we like all fit.
It was great.
Totally crazy. And we're gonna be cooking something awesome. So when I was thinking about you coming, you aren't a mom yet, you're not married yet, so it's just Olivia, but you're usually a really social girl.
I am.
And so this trend I've been seeing that I wanted to try, I haven't been home long enough to try it, is where girlfriends get together and they have a board party. Do you know what a board party is?
Well, all I know are charcuterie boards, but
okay, so it's like people have taken charcuterie board to the next level because we've kind of gotten, we're not tired of charcuterie boards, but we see them everywhere.
But I think also the thing with charcuterie boards, it's like, it's not real food.
Correct.
You know, it's like you're eating it and you're kind of filling up, but you're not really, and you're like, I think I need real proper food. So yeah.
I agree with that. And so I keep seeing these board parties where each guest, each girlfriend brings their own inspiration of a board. Maybe it's a taco board, maybe it's a burger board. We're gonna do a brunch board today. We're gonna be making some waffles. We're gonna make a homemade vanilla syrup. We're gonna cook some bacon. If you've never made a charcuterie board before, I'm always shocked by how many ingredients you need.
Yeah.
So we have a whole setup over here, a whole setup over here. We're working over here. But I made a few things ahead of time because I knew this would take us a while. So we've got the homemade whipped cream and the fruit dip and some muffins and things like that we made ahead of time. But we're gonna dive right in. And one of the first things we're gonna do some boiled eggs on our brunch board.
Okay.
But I got this off Amazon for the first Prime Day that I ever bought anything from. It was like $9.99.
Will you boil it in there?
Yeah.
What?
And so I got this because my kids, you just put some water in here. And so this keeps my kids from like turning the stove on and they can come over here, they put their eggs in, they turn it on and like, depending on how you like your eggs, like 15 minutes later, your eggs are ready to go, and then the kids don't have to use the stove.
Wait, that is so
Is that not the craziest thing for like $10?
Do I need that?
I'm gonna set our timer for the eggs, and then we're gonna be like trying to remember what timers are going off for.
Okay, fun fact. I didn't like eggs until I was in college. I hated the smell of it, the taste of it, everything. And I first started eating eggs by putting boiled eggs, egg whites into my salad in the servery at college. That was the first time I started eating eggs. Because I knew I needed protein, and I was like, well, this is the only thing that doesn't taste or smell like anything. And then slowly I started eating more eggs.
Okay, so you aren't from the US. You're originally from?
Born in London, lived there till I was 9. My family's originally from Angola, which is West Africa.
So do y'all not eat eggs for breakfast?
No. You have to understand, I was the weird one.
Okay, so as you're describing
like my parents,
I'm like, maybe it's because
No. Like my whole family eats everything. Like my mom, my brother, my dad, they love eggs. They love spicy food. I've just always been that weird one that only loved eating chicken and Italian food and pasta and pizza, basically.
Okay.
Like my freshman year of college, and it's so funny because I travel so much, but my freshman year of college, I ate pizza and Caesar salad for lunch every day.
Okay, I think that's normal for a freshman in college, though. We're like trying to learn to eat.
Fair.
It isn't just what our mamas cook,
But
right?
the thing is like I traveled so much that you'd think that I would have been more adventurous. And it's so funny because when I do travel, I am, and now I eat everything.
I was about to ask, how do you eat eggs now?
No, now I eat everything. I eat eggs all the time. I am a very nourished person.
Okay, I love that.
Oh my gosh.
So if somebody were actually making this at home for like a girlfriend's party, I'm making regular bacon, but there's this thing called Millionaire's Bacon that's so freaking good. And they put some brown sugar on it. I've seen them make it, put a little bit of a spice with some cayenne pepper.
Ooh.
And you wouldn't want to eat more than like a piece or two, but it gives it that sugary kind of something extra.
Okay.
We're just making regular bacon.
Does it make it sweet though? Because
it does.
Okay, that's a very American thing.
It is a very American thing.
So like the fact that bread is sweet and you put sugar on bacon, that's
we
like
fry
not
everything.
normal.
We make everything sweet. And
That
I'm
is
from
not
Mississippi, so it's even worse.
normal.
Yeah.
It always weirds me out. I'm like, why is this bacon sweet?
Okay, so we're gonna get started on the waffles,
Okay.
and then we're gonna juice some orange juice. Again, we're gonna make just regular homemade orange juice, but you really could turn this into like a mimosa. I don't drink. Do you drink?
Nowadays, yeah.
You gave it up for
I
a
gave
little
it
while?
up, and then I came back, and then I went to Italy, and here we are.
Well, I keep having babies, so I just don't drink.
I know. I think when I become a mom, I'll probably stop for like an extended period of time.
Okay, what people also don't talk about is like if you drink, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get a babysitter and go out and like have a couple drinks. You have to get up. And you have to be like,
and like take care of the baby.
And I get that some people don't, but I couldn't make it. So I gave up drinking years ago.
Yeah, and I think I will. Like I've gone back and forth so many times, and I think right now I'm still in a season of like having fun, and it's like all in moderation. Like I'm not going to the club anymore or anything like that.
Okay, but when you first like stopped drinking, I feel like you were still in
party phase,
New Orleans.
I was, yes,
and so there was an excuse to drink for everything.
But then when I got back from Portugal for 3 months, I went cold turkey for about 4 or 5 months while living in New Orleans. But that's also when I was like, I need to leave New Orleans, and that's when I moved to Colorado.
Okay, so you're gonna whisk this for a second. We've got some flour in here. I think it's 2 cups. We're gonna do some baking powder. You could also just buy waffle mix if you're like into making everything from scratch. Some salt.
I feel like there's so many different. You could also do toast. You
just
could
a little bit of sugar. Yeah, you could do pancakes. You could do French toast. You could get really creative with this on how to do a brunch one. Okay, so you moved to Colorado.
Yep.
How did you decide to go from Louisiana to Colorado? Wait, let's start over. We know each other so well, I forget that other people don't know you. So you go to college.
Yes.
You get your degree as was it a chemical engineer?
Chemical engineer. And then I actually moved to Colorado for grad school.
Okay, so that's your tie to Colorado.
Yes, because I wasn't ready to start the real world yet. And I'd been interning every summer and was like, well, and I was on scholarship and they paid for everything. And they were like, we'll pay for you to go to grad school. I'm like, okay.
Okay, so you go to grad school in Colorado.
Yep.
You finish.
Yep.
You get your first job at a gas and oil company?
Yeah, so first I take 3 months off because I had this goal of traveling to 50 countries before I turned 25.
Okay.
So I extended to the very last day I possibly could where I'd still get an extra week of vacation for work. So I traveled till like August, I think it was like 6th or something. And then I started working in Louisiana. I was supposed to, like my office was in Covington, but as I was leaving Colorado, I started crying. I was like, I think I need to live in New Orleans. So I moved to New Orleans and just commuted.
Wait, how did you pick New Orleans?
They picked it for me because the oil and gas platforms were in the Gulf of Mexico. And the only position, I literally told them this, the only position I really wanted to be in the company was something in operations because every other role bored me. And it was just like sitting at a desk the entire day. And the role that I was going in was half in the office, half going to the oil and gas platforms. I was like, at least there's some movement.
Yeah, okay, so you get your first job. What happens next?
Right away, I kind of knew that this probably wasn't gonna be long-term, but I was just like in the mindset of, number one, I had a bunch of credit card debt, so I was like, oh, let's pay this off. And then I also just, I knew that I needed to do something else, but I didn't know what that looked like. And when COVID happened, we started working from home. And for a lot of people, they're like, oh my gosh, working from home, I don't really have to work, blah, blah, blah. For us, it was different. They were like, oh my gosh, you're working from home. Let's work you to the bone. And so it would be weekends.
What do you think the difference was?
I think being in operations, so out there, everything was running 24/7. Like it doesn't stop. They still had to go out there. And I would sometimes still have to go out there because it just doesn't stop. So I think that was the main difference. And if anything, they were like, wow, we had all these projects on back burner and now there's so much time and you're home all day. What else are you doing? So yeah.
So you're working from home.
Should I whisk?
Yes. So you're working from home and I know the story goes you didn't like it.
I hated it.
How did you get to I don't like this?
Yeah, so I went on a trip to Alaska that summer of COVID. Don't judge me.
Of course you did.
Yep. Which was a great place to go because they were basically living in their own little bubble.
Yep.
And I was dating someone at the time. And I could also tell with this relationship that it also wasn't it. And I was still sitting in this credit card debt and I realized I hadn't figured out how to pay it off yet because I was just like, oh, I'm making great money. This will go fast, but I didn't really create a plan.
It wasn't a priority.
It wasn't a priority. I didn't really create a plan around it. And then I get back from this trip, I break up with my boyfriend and I'm like, I'm gonna do Whole30 for 30 days and get my real estate license because people say that they make money in real estate. So I was like, sure, why not? And so that's what I did. I started getting my license and I was taking the online class after work and over the weekends. And then suddenly I stumbled upon Bigger Pockets. And that was when I just started consuming Bigger Pockets like a crazy person and was like, this is something I can do. This can help me get out of my corporate job. If I get one property a year for the next 5 years, I'll be out. I'll be good. And so I went crazy and paid off all my debt in 8 months and saved up for my first property.
How much debt do you have?
I was $25,000 in credit card debt.
And you were how old?
I was 5.
Okay, you're 25. You were how many? 25,000?
Yeah, 25,000.
Okay, what was your plan? How much debt did you need to pay off, and what was your plan to pay it off?
So my goal was to pay it off all within a year and a half, and then buy my first property. However, at first it was in 2 years, but then when I listened to Bigger Pockets, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ham. And so I ended up paying it off in 8 months and saving up an extra $25,000 as well in my savings account if I needed to use that to buy a property. But then I also had my 401k, which had $50,000 in it. So I used that to buy my first property.
And your first property was where?
In New Orleans.
Okay, so talk us through that.
Yeah, so in New Orleans, I was living in the bougie part at first, which is called Uptown. And I was like, okay, I'm probably not gonna be able to get a property. The numbers just aren't making as much of a sense here. And so I ended up looking at more of the up and coming neighborhoods in New Orleans. So I ended up buying in the Bywater, and it was new Bywater technically, it was so funny because on one side of this one major street, duplexes were going for $550, $600. On the other side, I could get a brand new construction for $399, and they're less than 5 minutes walking from each other.
crazy the
So
difference?
I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so you find out it's $399.
Yeah.
How do you get the money to buy this?
Yeah, so I end up using an FHA loan, so 3.5% down, but I didn't actually use the money in my bank account. I used a 401k loan to pay for the down payment. But then I also, since I was a realtor, because I was slinging houses on the side and doing social media, I was side hustling hard at that time. I was a real estate agent, social media manager, and I was tutoring on the side, and I had my real estate license, and I was working my full-time job.
Okay, we should pause and talk about that, because so many people come to you and I both, because we both coach people, and they're like, I want this and I want that. And I'm like, how much money do you have? They're like, I don't have any. Do you have a job? No. And I wanted to cash flow a bajillion dollars, right? There's something to be said for, I am not advocating for the hustle culture.
Yep.
However, I do believe that there is a season that you have to hustle to get from one situation that you don't want to be in anymore to the next.
Completely.
And that is what that season was for you.
Completely. And I think there's always seasons for everything. So I would say even earlier this year, I was in a different kind of hustle for this next phase of business that I'm trying to build, right? And you just have to understand that's a part of the process. And it's not that you have to earn the chill season, but you kind of do.
Otherwise you can't afford the chill season.
Otherwise you're never gonna get to the chill season.
Yes. Okay, so you buy the duplex.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't familiar with house hacking, talk us through what you did.
Yeah, so I bought a house basically that was two houses in one. It had a back unit and a front unit. I lived in the back unit, rented out the front unit. My whole thing at the time is I wanted to Airbnb it out just because it seemed way more fun and you could make a lot more money off of it. So I did that. I remember I closed on the property, had the Airbnb unit up and running within 11 days. I did not sleep. I would wake up, roll out of bed, walk to the other unit, paint walls, put furniture together, invite friends over, be like, hey, there's king cake and beer and painting to do. So I would recruit every single person I knew to come help me. And then the second it was done, I listed it because I planned a trip to Costa Rica with some friends. So I got on this flight to Costa Rica. When I got to my Airbnb there, listed it for a rent, and the first booking started rolling in, and it was the best thing. I was like, I am a genius.
Okay, so how much was your payment on that duplex?
$2,400. By short-term renting just that one side, it was about $4,200 a month averaging.
How
and
crazy
so
is
I
that?
went from paying rent, paying $1,800 a month in rent to now living for free and cash flowing on
and
top.
And you also you're still an avid traveler.
Yes.
So you were renting out your
My
portion
side.
also when you were traveling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was an amazing first deal for you.
Oh, slam dunk.
Did you leave your job yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I did still leave just with one property, but it wasn't until the next year because I'd spent money, getting it up and running and furnishing and all of that. And then what ended up happening is we started going back into the office. So at this time too, I'm also pretty, before getting into real estate, I had experienced a ton of depression. Didn't want to wake up for work, just didn't want to do anything, which if you know me, that's not how I am.
As people can see, you have the most bubbly, positive. I also, even when things aren't working out and you're trying to work through them, you're still usually pretty uppity and positive.
Exactly. And I'm this is just a roadblock. That's okay. I really do just love life. I just am one of those people that wakes up excited for the day. And I wasn't. I didn't want to do anything. I would just, it was crazy. And I even had to get on medication for it because I was just so depressed. So I was taking Lexapro. And then I remember when I got this property up and running, I was like, oh my gosh, so excited. And luckily at this time we were still working from home, but then the company was like, oh, you guys have to return back to the office within the next month.
Oh.
And this was right when I was gonna get off my Lexapro. And then they said this and I was like, nope, that is not gonna happen. So I ended up staying on my medication, but that's also when my mental health in general, I was just a mean person. To the point where Anita, who's my right-hand woman best friend, she one day was like, you just keep complaining every day and it's starting to affect my mood. And at first I was like, that's rude. And then after that I was like, oh my gosh, that's how bad I am right now.
Okay, we should also notice that you had the ability to see that because a lot of people's relationships end there and the person never changes.
Yeah.
So kudos to her for saying it to you.
And she doesn't even remember. I remember it I remember it so clearly.
And that you were able to change that.
Yeah.
So let's pause for a second. We're gonna make some orange juice and we'll pick back up. Okay, so you're gonna put your orange in here. You're gonna hold on to this or it'll all fall out.
Yep.
And you're gonna press all the way down. Don't smash your finger. And then we're gonna put the oranges here and here, and then make sure you don't overflow it.
Perfect.
We're up, and we got our...
Wait, this is so easy.
It's super easy.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you work on the orange juice.
Okay.
I'm gonna check our waffles.
Listen, y'all, I know today's episode is inspiring, but inspiration alone will never carry us to our ultimate goals. That's why I started the Society of Entrepreneurial Women. It's a mastermind for high-performing female investors and entrepreneurs who are living their lives unapologetically. In a world where most people don't get us, or they try to keep us confined in a small box, the Society exists to turn off the brakes and set you free. We have weekly calls covering investing, wealth building, health, relationships, family, and a whole lot more. We have small tribes to hold each other accountable to our goals. We have in-person, ladies-only retreats to disconnect and drive each other towards our dreams. And most importantly, this is a community where you can be unapologetically you. Celebrate your wins, scream your successes from the top of the rooftop, become best friends with women who get you. We're 3 years in, and I can honestly say my best friends today are all from the Society. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.
Okay, so she's like, girl, you gotta change something.
Yes.
You realize you do. What happens next?
So at this point, I go on a trip to Italy. Crazy.
Everything starts.
Everything starts in Italy. Yeah, everything starts on my trips. This is why I travel. Like the best epiphanies happen.
Dude, all of my stories start with, and I was pregnant, and yours all start with, and I was on a trip.
Wait, that's amazing. But at this point, I'm so burnt out. I am coming off of a really bad month at work, just so busy getting everything done. And I am in Lake Como, sitting on this boat in the middle of the lake. It's beautiful. The sun is glistening. It's just like happiness in a bottle, basically, wherever I am. And I was just like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why have I accepted that I'm going to just be depressed for the next 5 to 10 years?
Which is what most people accept,
Yes.
right? They complain about, I even have family members, they complain about their job for basically their whole life.
Yep. And I'm just like, that sounds miserable. What? That's not, there has to be another way. And because originally what I was going to do was buy a property a year for 5 years and then quit after 5 years. But I was like, I don't think I can do this for 5 years. So that's when I decided I was going to leave my job. I hadn't figured out exactly how yet. But at first, I actually started applying to tech jobs.
Okay, let's stop and talk about something.
Yeah.
You had also gone and gotten your master's degree. You had put a lot of energy behind having this career.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like an easy thought for you.
No. Well, I'm also just it's not that my parents put pressure on me, but I was the golden girl, right? So I had done everything right. I got the degree. I had gotten the job. I did everything right. But yeah, I was the golden girl, right? I did everything that I was supposed to do. And so there was that pressure and that expectation of where I was going to go. And it's so funny because my dad always did instill an entrepreneurial spirit in me, but they're also immigrants and came from nothing and really built an incredible life for themselves and really just wanted the best for us. But that did come with some other pressure as well for me to be the golden girl who did everything right in corporate America as well, Yeah, so even though they didn't necessarily put that pressure on me intentionally, I always felt that pressure. And my brother, he's an actor, he went a completely different route. And I think I've always been a people pleaser, which is something even to this day that I'm always still working through. And I think entrepreneurship almost teaches you not to be a people pleaser, which is the best thing.
To.
Yeah,
right?
you can't be a people pleaser.
Yes, you have to.
Which has been really incredible, honestly. And I think something I'm so thankful to be going through. But yeah, so that's why at first I was looking for other jobs. Oh, I didn't realize I could go all the way down. Whoops. I was looking for other jobs in the tech industry because I was like, okay, well, that's still somewhat prestigious. and it's something else I could switch to, but I almost think
Well,
that
and
I was
it's still high paying, right?
still high paying, but I almost think I was self-sabotaging myself because I was literally applying for roles I had zero qualifications for. And I almost feel like this was the universe telling me, like, Olivia, you're just not meant to be in corporate America.
Yeah, because it's essentially trading one evil for the other.
Exactly.
Right?
And my whole point about it was, okay, I'm gonna be in this for the next maybe 1 to 2 years and then quit. So, which is not always the best like mindset to go into it with as well. So I think it's like, I always knew I didn't want to be in corporate and I needed that push to get out of it. And the push really, what happened was I won tickets to, Tony and Sarah Robinson. They were hosting a short-term rental conference.
Did I meet you there?
No, I met you at Rob's HostCon.
It was Rob's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But they hosted the STR Wealth conference, or no, not STR Wealth, STR Summit, yes, conference that I won tickets to. And here's the funny thing. I was making 6 figures. I was living for free. I had built up my savings back.
And you weren't
so
paying
much
to
fun.
go.
And I was like, no, I can't pay to go to, I can't go to this event. It's really expensive. I should really save my money for another down payment for the next property, yada, yada, yada.
Even though you come from something that praises education, meaning they think of it as a good thing, you still weren't willing to spend the money on that.
I know.
It's crazy to think of that disconnect.
No, it's crazy. Sorry, am I spilling everywhere?
Okay. We're wiping it up.
Yeah, it was just, and it's so interesting because, a lot of people who end up coming to me, they're also in that spot where they're just not used to paying for education outside of what's considered traditional education.
Well, I also think it's a thing with women. I don't know that they realize it because there's so many like free moms groups and like women come do this and like, church groups for women and things like that. And they're almost all free.
Yeah.
So I think there's a disconnect with that as to where guys, like they join country clubs and they like pay for golf lessons and like it's a more adult thing for men, I think, to pay for stuff than it is women.
But I mean, women still pay for things like art lessons or like, I'm trying to think, what did I pay for?
I can't think of anything that's not like beauty related, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's where our money goes. Now that you've been doing this,
yes.
you pay for
I don't even
stuff.
like question. I'm always thinking about what's the next thing I can pay for and like the next education and,
Okay, so you go to the conference.
I'm spilling everywhere.
That's okay. You go to the conference. What happens next?
I have the epiphany where I'm like at this conference and I'm like, oh, they're just regular people. I'm literally like, not to say like everyone else around me wasn't amazing, but it was like, if they can do it, I can do it too. Like I have gone through engineering, oil and gas industry, I've done all of this stuff. And I feel like, I posted something on my Substack the other day where it was like about my scoliosis. And I feel like that was the first time where I like did something hard and really overcame it. I was like, if I can get through that, like I should be able to figure this out too. So that's when I came home. I essentially texted my best friend Anita. I was like, hey, you want to buy a property with me? And so we bought a property in Virginia, sight unseen. And this was also when I quit my corporate job. So after I bought that property, quit my corporate job. At this point, I had 2 properties.
Wait, where was the second one?
In Virginia,
Shenandoah
Valley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So quit my corporate job after that. And people were like, oh, you should probably wait till you get the next property. I was like, nope, other people have figured this out. I can figure this out.
Well, there's also something to be said for like burning the bridge and having no choice.
Yes.
Right. You had to figure it out.
Exactly.
As opposed to getting to like limp along, right?
Well, and that was the thing is I also committed, like I joined Tony and Sarah's coaching program. And I remember I joined your program too. And I remember hopping, like this is your RV park program. I remember hopping on the call with one of your reps being like, oh, I'm not going to join this. Like, I'm not trying to do RV parks. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to come in. I'm going to learn. I'm going to
buy an RV park. Yeah. You were convinced.
I was convinced. So then I realized, actually, this isn't exactly what I want to buy. Oh, man. Well, I was ready.
You were kind of stumbling around trying to find your way, though.
Yes.
Like, there's something to be said about that.
Yes.
Okay, so we're working on our board here.
It looks so good. I'm like, I haven't really done anything, but this looks amazing.
Well, you want to get us started on our syrup because we're going to make some homemade syrup.
Okay.
So you're going to include the sugar, the corn syrup, and the water all in here. You're going to bring it to a boil for 2 minutes. Yep.
Perfect.
So go ahead and combine your ingredients. We're gonna bring it to a boil for 2 minutes and then we'll do our next step.
Okay, do I do the, wait, did you say water? Oh, I see water, okay.
Yep, you got water, corn syrup. Yep, go ahead and scrape that out.
Oh, scrape, oh, ah! I'm doing great. I'm doing so
You're
good.
doing great.
I'm doing great. So all of this sugar?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, it's the syrup.
I've never made syrup.
Well, think about how sugary it is, like when you put it on your waffle. Or
I
your
guess
pancake.
so. That makes sense. I know all the cooking I do is like overly healthy unless it's like pasta.
Well, I think you've also lived in big cities where neat stuff is close.
Yeah.
And if you don't live like that, you've got to learn to make your own fun stuff.
That is fair.
Which is what we're doing now.
No, I love it.
Okay, so you buy the second property.
Yep.
You're leaving your job.
Then Anita and I moved to Virginia for once again, we've never been to Virginia ever in our lives at this point. But we buy a property, we drive down over there, take all the dogs. And
Okay, if you listen to my story and your story, I can see why we're friends.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I remember listening to you on Bigger Pockets at some point, and I was like, this lady is amazing. And I think that's why I joined the RV park stuff, even though, because I think it's like you had RV park and glamping, and I was like, I'm interested in glamping.
Yes, glamping would have fit your desires more because it would have married together the design stuff.
But it's so funny because even the more I'm like in this realm, the more I'm like, I still don't think glamping is it for like, I really like the boutique hotel.
You like the luxury of it too.
I like the luxury, and glamping is still camping.
Glamping is still camping. It is glamorous camping.
It is glamorous camping, but
still camping. Okay, so you move to Virginia. What happens next?
And then Anita and I start an interior design business as well. So
which is why I called you when we were doing the kitchen.
And the reason we started is we were just chilling in Virginia. Do I have to stir this?
Yes.
Okay. We were chilling in Virginia, and all the houses there looked horrible and that's part of why we picked that area, was because the competition was easy.
You knew you could beat them with design.
Pardon?
You knew you could beat them with design.
Exactly. Without having to, especially since we were doing a lot of it ourselves, DIYing. Oh yeah, so this first house in Virginia, oh my gosh. So we buy this fully sight unseen. Remember, we're living in New Orleans at this time. We take all the dogs, drive up to Virginia, a place we'd never been. We close on this house, walk into this house. It is disgusting. so disgusting. There's no AC. This is, or heating. This is in the dead of winter, like November. And like the toilet is gross, everything is disgusting. So we had at first when we were like planning what we were gonna do with the property, we were like, oh, we don't need to change the toilet, we don't need to change the sink, any of that. No, we ended up changing everything out ourselves because of YouTube University. We're like sleeping on the floor, we paint the entire house, we have AC people coming to put in central AC. It was a whole thing. It was such a mess. But also like I look back so fondly of those days. And then we get the property up and running, and then we move into like a midterm rental and we start looking for our next property. Takes a few months to look for the next property. We find another property and basically do the same thing on that one as well. But yeah, that's why we moved there for like 3 months.
So how much time passes that you're in Virginia?
3 or 4 months. Yeah, so like we're there until March of the next year.
And did you end up buying a separate property, second property?
Yep, we did.
You want to peel some boiled eggs?
Yeah, sure.
Are they cooled off?
Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've never peeled boiled eggs.
That's okay. Yep, so we put them in some ice water.
Okay, and then the shells just go into the water?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So you find the second property in Virginia, what happens next?
And then I decide I'm gonna travel around. So, to be fair, in the midst of all of this, I am still also traveling, so I like go to Guatemala and I go to Mexico.
And you're taking your dog with you.
Yes. So like, and then at this point I actually come back to Colorado. Where did I go? I went to Texas for a bit and New Orleans to pick up some stuff and change some of my stuff out for the summer. And then I head to Colorado for a bit and then I go to Portugal. Yeah.
So how are your properties, because you've got a few now, how are you operating while you're traveling around like this?
My whole thing, even when I bought my very first property in New Orleans, was I wanted it to be able to run itself, because my whole thing for doing this was I wanted more freedom so I could travel the world and do everything. So even my very first property in New Orleans, the short-term rental side, I set it up so I never had to go in it. And I didn't for the first like 5 or 6 months that I had it. I never went into the other side.
So you were doing guest communications yourself.
I was doing the guest communications myself, and I was sending, at the time, I was screenshotting my calendar and sending it to my cleaner every time there was a new booking, which is hilarious because I definitely don't do that anymore. But I at least had, at the time I didn't have Hospitable. It was a different website, I think like IGMS or something, to help with the guest messaging and some automation.
The integrations have come a long way.
They've come a long way. And so I ended up switching to Hospitable. So then at least all of my guest communication was automated. And then I was also able to then like add my cleaner to it, add my handyman to it so that they could see whenever bookings were happening. And then finally, like a year after that, I also got virtual assistants to help with guest communication and all of that. And really that's all you need. And they like communicate with the cleaners, they communicate with the handyman, they do everything now, which is great. And now they even have their own like debit card to make purchases and yeah.
So what made you decide to not keep scaling in Virginia?
I like to invest where I like to go. Like the way that I like to, especially now, like my real estate really does cover all my living expenses. And that was the whole goal at the beginning. It's like, I wanted to be able to live off of my investment properties, and like I do. And so I just didn't care to ever, like I still haven't been back to Virginia. my properties are still out there. Like, and we keep saying, oh, we should go back this year. And we're like, ugh. And so I realized like, I just like, do I put the egg back in here?
I'm coming to you.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it here. I just like investing in places that give me joy, and I like doing projects that give me joy. So that's why I ended up buying a place in Colorado. That's why I'm looking at buying a place in Italy. And that's the thing with every single person, it's so different, right? Like at the beginning, I didn't care where I wanted to invest because the goal was just cash flow. Like I wanted to cash flow enough to be able to not have to go back to my corporate job. That was it. I didn't care where the property was. That's why we went to middle of nowhere, Virginia. But now I'm at a point where it's like, no, I actually want my properties to be somewhere where I enjoy. And
well, and it's part of the journey of like stumbling. You don't know that when you're starting. So it's part of the journey of kind of like stumbling through, because it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
So this is what works for you, and you had to stumble through figuring that out.
Exactly. And it's like, I would much rather have like a bigger portfolio in Italy or even like Colorado. I'm like the only other place I would buy right now is in Colorado in the mountains. Like those are really the only 2 markets that I'd look at.
Because you love hiking there.
Because I love hiking there. And I think it's also a difference too, where I don't care as much about my properties like cash flowing a ton. Like it's just not the priority anymore. So it's like, even if it breaks even, I'm like, that's fine, I don't care.
So we should stop and talk a second about a topic that's a little controversial. Even though you're a real estate investor, you don't really like love real estate.
No.
And so I think it's a common misconception that like everyone that invests in real estate is like crazy about real estate investing.
Yeah, it's a vehicle, right? Like the goal wasn't to be a real estate investor. The goal was freedom and to be able to do life the way that I want to do it and to wake up excited every day. And
okay, so I love that you mentioned that, because a lot of people get caught up in the like, I'm there, because they come to me and they're like, I want an RV park. I'm like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
And they're like, because I want an RV park. I'm like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
Because if they really think about it, if it's for the freedom to travel like you're talking about, or to not have a day job like you were having, then that is a different conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you choose an asset class that's super active and going to take over your life, you've literally ruined what you started this for.
Totally. And that's why even like right now, I'm like, I was trying to decide where I wanted to buy a hotel, right? Like, do I buy somewhere here in the US? It'd be a lot easier versus do I go somewhere like Italy? And I'm like, Olivia, where do you actually want to do this project? You're gonna spend a lot of time there and you know you will. I'm like, Italy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because that's what you're dreaming of right now.
Yeah, and so even when, right now, like, to be fair, I'm not buying any real estate this year. I've told myself not to buy any real estate until like January 1st of next year is when I can buy something. But like right now, what I'm really thinking about is doing a boutique hotel, which is generally like the normal graduation.
I was gonna say, that's how you go. From how do you scale hotels. When you're great at design and you've got the short-term rental skill already.
And
like that's the
it's
next
like
step.
Having an asset that's big enough where you can hire more people to run the day-to-day. And so at first I was like, oh, maybe we buy something in the US somewhere. Maybe we get do a motel conversion. And I was like, Olivia, you're gonna spend a lot of time at this project. Where do you actually wanna be? Because you know that you've realized by this point that location actually really does matter for you. And I was like, Italy, obviously.
So unless it's in the mountains in Colorado, this is something you wanna do in Italy.
Yes, pretty much.
So we should pause and talk about how beautiful
oh my goodness.
brunch board
Wait,
has
this is
turned
actually
out.
so cute.
Isn't it?
And it was easy.
It did not take as long as I thought it was going to
No.
do. Our syrup didn't work out, so we now have maple syrup in here. Trying to talk and stir sugar and not catch on fire isn't a thing.
Ladies, it's time to redefine the conference experience with the Society of Entrepreneurial Women Retreats. Step inside a world tailored for women just like you, where you can lead, learn, and unwind in style. Our retreats offer everything from insightful investing sessions to fun activities like salsa dancing, boat cruises, food tours, and so much more, ensuring you come back not just inspired, but truly refreshed. Join a community that celebrates you wholly and supports your every endeavor. Ready for a retreat that changes the game? Visit the link in our show notes and find out how you can be part of this exclusive experience.
So you're thinking about the hotel in Italy.
Yeah.
And
part of that is because I know, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is I want to live transcontinentally, like whenever, and to be fair, part of why I was like a digital nomad for 2 years. So once I quit my job from 2022 to 2024, I was a digital nomad, didn't have a home, was traveling all around the world, doing my own thing, just la 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 la, basically. But part of what I was doing was trying to figure out where I wanted to move to, if I wanted to commit to moving to Europe at that time. I realized last year I wasn't ready yet.
your grandmother's in Europe.
My grandmother's in the UK. A lot of my family's, I was born in London, so a lot of my family's in the UK. I love the UK. It's just really expensive and I don't like the weather. So
That's a lot of things to not like.
yes, yeah, no, but I love the vibe. Like when I'm in London, and to be fair, I've considered buying something in London. But the thing is I love going to London and being a tourist. Like I love being bougie and staying at my favorite hotel, which is the Kimpton Fitzroy, and it's fabulous and you get taken care of, and yes.
So you like traveling there, but,
yes.
but living there might be different.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to live there. Okay.
Okay, so this is homemade whipped cream.
Ooh. Are they both? This one too?
That one's fruit dip.
Oh, okay.
But you could really eat it however you wanted to. The idea behind this is you could like build a sandwich or like an avocado toast kind of thing, or you could have breakfast.
This looks so good.
It's freaking adorable.
Oh my gosh.
This is great. So you like traveling there, but you're thinking Italy is for you.
Yes. Well, and so like I did, a few months in Mexico, a few months in Portugal, because I thought maybe, because I speak Portuguese, and Portugal is one of the easiest places to get citizenship as well in the EU, because even though I have my British passport, Brexit, the UK is not a part of the EU anymore. So for example, in Italy right now, I can only be there for 3 months at a time, or 3 months within 90 days within a 180-day period.
And so the last time you were there, you talked to a realtor. And?
So they were great. The system's so different there. And this is why I always tell people, because a lot of people come to me because they like to travel and all of that. And they're like, do I buy something abroad? The process is so much harder.
Well, it depends on where you are too, right?
Yes.
Because my in-laws are always like, you should buy something in Asia. Well, the places they're at, you can't actually own the property. It's a land lease, right? But they don't understand the difference in that when they're talking to me, because they haven't lived somewhere like the US where you actually own the property.
And they don't know the difference.
So you give up tax benefits, you give up appreciation, maybe you have some cash flow.
Yeah.
And so truly understanding how each country works, you could be in really big trouble if you didn't understand that.
Completely. And like the system, it takes, so even to buy in Italy, I need to go over there, open up an Italian bank account, do all this stuff. So that's why I kind of want to go later this year for a month, lay down the roots, starting the process. And even then, it's common to be under contract for like 6 months. So it's not like I'm going to go buy a property next month like you can do here, like it's a process. So even there, working with the real estate agent, they were like, oh yeah, it's a $10,000 fee. And I still don't know if this is common or not, to be fair. And they said they would help setting up like business accounts and all this stuff. So I think that's part of it. But it's so different. Here, you just...
That's fair, because like you're saying, agents are even paid differently there. Okay, so we're dreaming of Italy. But you do want to be a wife and a mom someday.
I do.
You turn 30.
Yes, turning 31 later this year.
What do you think the shift was? Because I don't know that when I first met you,
I
you
wasn't
even
ready.
thought you wanted to get married and have kids.
I think it's like I've been doing life alone for a long time, and I think I'm just like ready to find my partner. But also like I do have like there's a motherly, and to be fair, growing up I did not have. I feel like even here you can tell like I'm not like, oh my gosh, baby.
Yeah.
It's just like I like babies.
I was not that,
Yeah.
and now I'm the woman with 5 kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know when I have my own baby, like it's gonna kick in, and I want that experience.
Okay,
Like,
so I have a theory.
Yeah.
Because we have another mutual friend who's in her late 30s.
Yeah.
And when I first met her, she wasn't interested in getting married or having a baby. And now she's like, I don't even care if we get married, I just want a baby.
Yeah.
And so there's all these statistics saying that like women aren't having kids or they aren't having as many kids. I have girlfriends who are in their 40s and they're having like their 5th or 6th baby.
Yeah.
And that was not a thing like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
People didn't have more than their 2 kids. So I actually think women are just waiting later because we have these options we didn't previously had in our 20s. And I don't want to say it's a distraction, but it's like there's something else to fuel that side of your personality.
Well, and I think like my parents always told me, they were like, you have time. Right? Although now they're like, chop chop.
It's kind of like an avocado. You got a lot of time and then you don't.
But I think I felt that for the longest time. I was like, I have time. I always knew I didn't want kids before 30. Like if I found my person, amazing, but I knew I wanted to wait until my 30s. But now I'm like, okay, I can have a kid. Like if I find the right person, I'm ready. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so you're ready to find that person now. How do you think having a family will impact the way you're investing, the way you travel? Do you think any of those things will change?
I think the way that I travel will change, but I still think I'll travel quite a bit. Like I think that's just like an innate, and part of like the person that I meet needs to also really enjoy traveling and want to travel and have flexibility. And I think that's probably like the biggest challenge that I generally face when it comes to dating. But I know I'm gonna wanna show them the world, just like my parents did for me. Like I've been traveling since I was really young, and I got the travel bug so early, and I would make presentations for my parents saying like, this is where I should go this summer. And it's like a camp in France or something. And yeah, so I think I'm always gonna be like that. But I think I already know it's gonna be a bit more difficult. Like I'm not gonna be able to like show up at the airport 20 minutes before boarding.
No, you're not.
So I think it's just going to take more planning, but I've seen so many families do it well and be able to travel with their kids. It's not to say it's not tough, but I think when you prioritize it, you make it happen, you know?
I do think you need more planning.
Yeah.
Because we are similar. We wait until like the morning of to pack, and that is not an option.
No.
So shifting gears a little bit, for anybody who's ever seen you, you look perfect every time you go somewhere. Your outfit's perfect. You like your accessories, and that makes you think, oh my gosh, Olivia like loves to shop and has so many clothes.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
Nope. I actually hate stuff. Like I like stuff that's intentional, but I hate having too much stuff. And I think it's because my parents have a lot of stuff, and so I went the opposite, where it's like, get rid of everything. Especially when traveling too, I realized like I have so much stuff in my house that I never use and I didn't need. Why do I have all of this stuff? So like with clothes, I mainly do Rent the Runway, and Nuuly, I have both because once again, I always like to change my clothes and I get bored of it. I spend less money on clothes, and I get to wear way cuter clothes.
Okay, so for people who aren't familiar with this, I do the same thing. So it's a subscription, and
Yes.
you pick out 5 or 6 new items
Yep.
a month. They get shipped to you, you love them and enjoy them for the month,
Yep.
and you send it back and get new outfits for the next month.
Exactly.
Especially when you go to conferences and you speak on stage and things
Or
like we do.
travel.
Yeah, and there's a million pictures in the one dress. You may have only worn the dress to 2 events, but it looks like you wear it every day. And so I love the subscription-based way that you do clothes. How are you doing your accessories and your shoes? Because I feel like you do a really great job traveling light.
I do.
One of my biggest problems is shoes.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I do bring a lot of shoes. So I think
How?
even, but they're like small shoes. So I'll bring sandals. I'll wear my boots on the flight.
Okay,
I'll
you're also like 7 feet tall, so you don't have to have a pair of heels.
Yeah, I don't really bring heels. Like, to be fair, For example, I also don't like wearing heels.
Yeah.
So for example, to Italy, I brought 2 pairs of heels with me. I wore one of them once. It was just like, why did I bring those? Why did I bring those?
Yeah.
So I tried not to bring heels anymore. I mainly do sandals. I'll do like a running shoe that's a cute that I can still wear out, like one that I can work, because I don't run. So one that I can work out in, but like lift and stuff.
Or
yes,
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm also curious because I see you're traveling and I see your real estate stuff. Those are things we regularly talk about. What's something that you're like genuinely really excited about right now?
I'm really excited about building my team. Because that sounds really weird. That sounds really weird, but like I feel like so my 20s were so solo focused. They were focused on me and my freedom and like what I was doing for myself. And then I had this switch last year, which is when I turned 30, where it's like, I think I'm meant to be doing bigger things and I'm supposed to have like bringing other people up with me. And I think that's like genuinely, and I'm starting to see it like slowly but surely, like learning to become a leader, learning to like build people up to do better for themselves as well. I think that's like what I'm really
excited about. So there's a shift
about.
here that I think happens. When you first start buying real estate and you have your first couple deals, you consider yourself a real estate investor. Mm-hmm. But after you get a couple deals, you're not really a real estate investor. While you invest in real estate, you're an entrepreneur and a business owner. You have to learn to hire and fire and follow HR rules and regulations and figure out tax benefits and making sure your bookkeeping's in order and you're managing all these different tasks and you've truly become an entrepreneur. And so to grow into that next phase, you've got to get, like you talked about, some leadership skills.
And you can't do it by yourself. And I realized like I was doing so much of it by myself. And that's when you burn out. If you try and do it all by yourself, you're going to want to quit.
Yeah, you either stay in a real estate investor that hates their life or you transition to more like an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I realized I love entrepreneurship. And I think that's the thing. It's like I don't love real estate. Real estate's just the vehicle, but I do genuinely enjoy marketing and content and like having this team and building something bigger. And like I love that part of it, you know?
So talk me through that. I know you have at least Anita on your team.
Yes.
Who's your next hire?
So I've got, Shy, she was my virtual assistant. I hired her over a year ago now.
Oh, wow.
And I hired her after one of your conferences, one of your retreats. That was my like action item. And I actually went and did it the day I got back. And it's literally truly one of the best hires I've ever done. I've got another virtual assistant who only focuses on guest messaging. Shy, my other virtual assistant, she's like my virtual executive assistant. So she does like all my emails, all my calendar, every like tiny links have to go places and people need to be reached out to and blah, blah, blah.
So you kind of started building this team a year ago.
Yeah.
So
that was like stage one was just for the real estate, to be fair. Like at first, like Shy was my everything, but that was mainly, it was like, let's get the real estate running so I don't have to think about it. And that was my whole thing when I went to Argentina last year for my 30th birthday. I was like, I want to shut my phone off for 3 weeks. Like, I don't want anyone to contact me. And so, and both Anita and I traveled there. So it was really like, Shy, Monica, you got this? Cool. So, and they did. And it was great. Like there were tiny little fires that went out, but it wasn't the end of the world. I was like, amazing. This is so cool. And then I realized like my other businesses, like my coaching and the interior design, were not running like that. And those went full stop the second we left. And that's when I was like, oh, we gotta.
Well, that goes back to talking about like, do these align with the vision for your life? Because if you continue those, that is interrupting what you actually want from life.
Exactly.
So we're building our team. Who's your next hire?
So earlier this year, I hired Devlin, who is she's a coach now and the business customer success manager. Because before I was the one running all the group coaching calls, checking in on people, running the challenges, doing all of the, like making sure everyone was onboarding right, offboarding right, all of this stuff. Now Devlin, she was actually, I think the first person who ever joined WWA, which is amazing. And she crushed it. She went in there and like, it was so funny when she joined WWA, she's like, no, I don't think I'll buy a property. I'm just like here to learn. And then gets under contract on another property and does a full renovation on another. I'm like, you're just doing so good. And so
like
she
proud mama bear.
I know. So she came onto the team and has been amazing, like truly. And it's like, you don't realize what you're working on. Like there's just so many different things that are taking up your headspace. hired her earlier this year, and she's going to keep growing and developing, especially as we scale and taking over. And I foresee us having more coaches and her overseeing those coaches and doing all of that. And then I hired a content person. We're just going to keep it at that. That situation may change.
Like, content people are hard. Yeah. Everyone thinks they're a social media manager or an ideation, whatever they're calling themselves. Yeah. And for anybody who's ever grown their account without that, finding somebody who can do it like equal to or better than you can is almost impossible. It's like a blessing and a curse because you're kind of stuck in that role. Yeah. And that is a business that's really tough.
Yeah. And I realize I'm okay with it. I like being in that role. Like, honestly, my favorite part is waking up, and I love creating content, and I love thinking of new ideas. And I realize, okay, maybe this is actually a role that doesn't get hired out. Like, I am the content person, at least like ideation and stuff. I'm sure like later down the line, I'll have someone who will help me create stuff more. And I have, podcast editor and stuff like that. And it's okay for me to stay in that role, but it's all the other ones. So I actually this morning just sent out my letter/video acceptance letter for my new DM setter. So that's gonna be great, and hopefully she grows into being a closer as well, because right now I'm closing everything. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, basically with coaching programs, there's like a DM setter who books people onto calls, and then the closer is the person who closes them on the coaching package or course or whatever it is that they end up wanting to buy.
Yeah, it's a whole business in itself. Mm-hmm. Most people think of it as a one-man show, and it's a full-fledged operation. Yeah. I don't think most people genuinely realize that. No. It is a whole business in itself that is filled from the content you're creating. So you've got almost two businesses that have to operate, because the content isn't going to make any money if you don't have the coaching, and the coaching's not going to have people coming into it if you don't make the content.
Well, and that's why there are so many content creators who have huge followings but don't make any money.
Yeah, they think, oh, they must be rich. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Well, thanks for doing this.
Don't mean dollars.
That's true. So thanks for doing this with me today. It's been really fun catching up with you.
So fun.
Are you going to make a board for somebody?
No, I love it. I love a good board party.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like and subscribe so you get the next one.